My student became my F-buddy. Part 2. Holy poop. I didn't even know I was making any sound at all. Can she hear my deeper breathing through the wall? A few seconds later, another message. Just kidding. You're both so easy to mess with. The emotional roller coaster was unaliving me. Ding. It was Jenny this time. You had me scared for a second. I thought I was being quiet. Whoa. I was in disbelief. Ding. Grace again. Get it, girl. Sorry to interrupt. No worries. At this point I was just staring at my phone in disbelief. Another message from Grace. No messages from Dan. He's either too busy with himself or fast asleep. It took me a bit to compose myself and conjure up the courage to respond. Not asleep. Was all I replied. A few seconds later, I heard the buzzing again. But louder. Jenny wasn't making any effort to muffle the sound this time. I began to play with myself again. This time not even trying to not think about the two women I was sharing a floor with. I orgasmed and then tried to quietly make my way to the bathroom to clean up before getting back in bed. When I got back to my room there were new messages. Grace, I guess that means Dan is done. Jenny, poor guy, needs to clean up. My head was spinning. I couldn't believe what just happened. I laid in bed with my thoughts racing until I fell asleep. From that night, things were different. No, it wasn't a constant orgy among the three of us. But the jokes and the sneaky glances got bolder. I could hear Jenny's vibrator more often now. Grace would joke at the end of the night about needing to run into her room to take care of herself. Things like that. One night a few days later the three of us were in the common area drinking tea. Jenny got up to go to bed and Grace teased her with another one of her jokes that pushed the boundary ever so slightly. Don't worry about being too loud. We can handle it. Jenny laughed. Not a problem anyways, my batteries died and I need to get new ones. Aw, you can always borrow mine. She paused for a second. Or just borrow Dan. Okay, maybe this time Grace pushed too far. An awkward silence fell on the three of us. I couldn't believe what Grace had just said. I couldn't believe that Jenny was standing there silently looking at the two of us. Our eyes met. I couldn't deny I wanted it. I have ever since I saw her in a tank top and shorts and my mind began to wander. Grace got up, grabbed me by the hand, and walked over to Jenny. The intimate tension between you two is obnoxious. Go bang it out, she said with a laugh. She grabbed Jenny as well and led us to Jenny's room, making a big show out of pushing us into the room. We stood at the foot of her bed and looked out to the common area at Grace, silently. I walked over to the door and closed it. No words needed to be said. Jenny sat back onto her bed and I leaned in to kiss her. She laid back as I got on top of her, my body straddling hers as we kissed fiercely. She was wearing a short skirt and I ran a hand up her thigh. Just FK me, please Mr. N. She hadn't called me that since starting grad school. I could see a whole different side of her was coming out. I don't have a CNDM, I started to say. I'm on birth control. I need it, she replied. The intensity in her voice told me to take her seriously. I had no doubt Grace could hear every word being said on the other side of the door. I won't last long, I warned her. I don't want you to, was her response. She leaned forward to kiss me and began to gyrate her hips back and forth on me. She was so tight there was no hope of me holding out. Give it to me, she whispered in my ear as I exploded deep inside her. We heard a ding come from Jenny's phone. It was Grace on the group chat. Jealous.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and watch my other videos. Goodbye, and see you again.